Hello everybody, I am Jaco, and today I'm making a signature based on Beginner Sig of the Week from signaturebar.com animals. So I went to Planet Renders and found a good render of God of War's to it looks like a griffin, so I went with that. After that, you're going to want to open up a normal size 400 by 150, and then we can get started. I want to start off by saying this is not a strictly Photoshop. I'm going to be explaining how you can do this in GIMP as well. But to start, we're going to want to move our render over to the signature area. In Photoshop, you know that you can click and drag this. In GIMP, you don't have to save it to your computer. You can copy the link, go to File, Open Source, or whatever it's called. I forget, I haven't been in GIMP for a while. But you're going to open the source, you're going to paste it in as a layer, and you've already got that, you've got your render in. It does limit you on the size, unlike Photoshop, so you're going to have to watch out when you smudge this, but it'll work for what you need it to. Alright, now that we got our render placed in, we're going to make our background based off of it. Grab your smudge brush. Any brush will work as long as it's got multiple edges and different pressure points. Pressure points can be seen as black and gray differences in there. What you're going to do is you're going to start, just smudge it around the picture. This will take a little bit because my computer is a little slow right now. Okay, now that all of it's smudged and you don't have any gaps, you're going to duplicate the layer, and you're going to set the mode to either overlay or soft light. Both GIMP and Photoshop have these. Just look at the difference between the two. One's a little bit sharper, one's a little bit softer, of course soft light. I like soft light a lot, and I usually typically go with that one. After that, you're going to re-put in the render and resize so that it fits into the sig like you want it to. Now that you've got your render resized and placed on where you'd like it, we're going to smudge it like we did to the background. But you're going to do it on a different layer, so duplicate the layer, grab your smudge brush, start smudging from about the center and just keep coming out according to where the edge is. This helps out with the coloring of the render. It'll look much nicer, just like the background did. Again, go with overlay or soft light. Usually you want to go with the same one you did with the background. Okay, now we're going to take a blur brush. I usually go with a standard hard circle brush. Zoom in on your picture and start about 2 or 3 pixels away and just start blurring on the main render. Blur the edges so that that'll happen. So that all the hard edges that you see, all the pixelated white pieces or black pieces, they start to blend into the background really well. This really helps on some badly cut renders, so keep that in mind. Okay, now we've blurred the edges of our render, so we're going to increase the size of your brush to a fairly large size. Go to your background layer and blur that. Also blur your duplicated layer that you set on overlay. After that, we're going to want to define the main focal point of the render. So go to your main render layer, turn your strength or opacity of brush down to probably about 30 would do it. get your brush size so that it just fits in like a nice muscle mass of the render. That looks good. And then start blurring away what isn't going to be the focal. You only want a slight blur on this because otherwise it'll be too distracting. So probably about twice over with a 30% will do it. And after that we're going to find a stock for the background. Okay, my video capturing software puked on me, so let me show you what I've done so far. Okay, this was about where we were. Minus that. This was about where we were when I last, in the previous scene. What we did was we moved over this stock, set it to overlay about 34%, and I just messed with it until it looked good. I saw this line here and thought that that looked nice. Then I found out that my depth wasn't all that great, so I duplicated the layer, set it to overlay, no, I set it to multiply, and cut out everything that wasn't looking good, so everything on my render, and there was bits of pieces of some green up here that just didn't fit, so I redid it again, cut out that green because it looked really nice. Now you can see some depth happening with the tree, and over here is a little bit more blurred in the background. And then after that I took my border, made a border 6 and 7. I also added lighting in 6 for some reason. Added more lighting over here. I set this one with some white. Put white over with the brush, smudged it in the direction of the render, put it on soft light. With this one, the one that wasn't supposed to actually be on this layer, was brown. Also did some just smudging it towards the light in the render here. Same thing with the lighting up here. And I tried adding lighting over here, but it didn't work. So yeah, that's where we are right now. Sorry that everything just like skipped ahead, but again, my video player just kind of like puked on me and kept slowing everything down, and then it just didn't want to register anymore. From here, it's basically finding out the little pieces that don't work. Like, see right here, there needs to be, it could be a little bit blurred so that it blends. Come on, blur. Yeah, and I'm gonna end up smudging it anyways. Come on. There we go. Smudge it just so that it fits. And you've got a pretty nice looking signature, so now we're gonna add some text. Text is always the hardest part in signatures because you've got to find a place for it to work well. Let that load up. It always takes long for me to load up. But yeah, for text, it's the hardest part. You don't want any text too far in the corners. You always want to keep it near the render so that it's not pulling the eye away from your focal. Wow, this is actually taking a lot longer